I want to welcome you to the Faith Based Menopause Mastery mini course. This is going to be a great time. I'm excited that I get to share my little nuggets with you. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this changes your life like it has mine. If you don't know me, my name is Treesa Lee, and I am a married, but we've been married 12 years, and I was married previously for 16 years. So I've been married a long time, and I've had a lot of experience. It's a long story. Another thing that's a long story is that I have five children. My five children range in ages from 28 to 11. So, and I have four beautiful glam children, I like to say. Really, that was before before I was really ready to be a grandma. When my first daughter was like, "I'm pregnant," I was like, "Oh my, I'm not ready." But anyways, yeah. So I have four beautiful grandchildren. I am a mentor. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm an artist as well. You'll learn to love a lot about me, hopefully, as I learn more about you. I really want to be a friend to you. I want to be the friend that I didn't have when menopause kind of hit me like a Mack truck out of nowhere. And I had no idea what was really going on. I might have heard things before, but I just really didn't know. So I want to be your friend, or I want to be someone who you can count on to help you through this process. Now, what I do want you to know is I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm actually going to start a timer so that I can keep on track here and not talk too much because I want to do this in less than 30 minutes. Oh my gosh, hopefully I can do that. But yes. So I do want to mention before we get too far along, I am creating a one-stop shop for the midlife woman from my standpoint. But it's t-shirts, all types of really fun, beautiful goodies, a really beautiful journal that I created just for you and us in mind, women in our situation. And so you can get that by accessing faithbasedmenopause.mastery.com. And more will be added on there every week. And so make sure you check that out. I do want to say before we get too much further as well that I'm not a doctor. So any of the supplements or any of the exercises or any of the suggestions that I give you, of course, would be secondary to any doctor or healthcare professional that you might be seeking care from. So I would ask you to go and check with them and just make sure that any changes you want to start making that they are in line with what they feel is best for you. So, like I said, I'm going to do this really quickly just to be cognizant of your time. I don't think it takes a whole lot of time. A lot of what I'm going to share with you might be things that you have heard before, or things that you just need a quick reminder, or realizing that these are important things to take advantage of in this time as we transition in our lives. I like to call this a beautiful transition. That's why you'll see a lot of butterflies and things around my course and things that I put out because I feel like it's kind of that same transition phase that a butterfly takes from the cocoon into when it becomes its best self. So I feel like that's where we are right now. It's just sometimes we need a little understanding of how to get through it and thrive and not just survive, right? So the outline will be certain things like we're going to discuss what is menopause. Some of you might be just now having symptoms, menopausal symptoms, and wondering what is going on with me. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to talk about some of the ways to conquer the symptoms that you are facing. We're going to also talk about faith. I believe that faith is important. It's almost the backbone and the foundation of this time in our lives, because I feel like without that, we really could fail at this and just suffer a lot more than we really have to. But I do encourage you to stay until the end. It will be worth it. I promise. It's going to be some good things in here, and I feel like it's going to be quick. And I'm going to make sure that it is something that would be a blessing to you. Okay. Here's just a couple of testimonials that I have from a few beautiful women that were able to look at some of the products that I have. And here's Victoria, and she was saying how much she loved this, and it was a blessing to her. She's one of the sweetest people I know, as well as Teresa. as well, just saying how much she has enjoyed just being connected as well. And so that's their little testimonials. I have some more as well to put on here. But what is menopause? Let's just jump right in because we're already 4 or 5 minutes in. So, what is menopause? Menopause marks a very significant time and transitional phase in our life. It's signaling the cessation, which is the stopping of our menstrual cycles. I remember I have one of my sisters are very important to me, and one of them was mentioning to me today, one day, about what she confesses and declares during this time. And because I started asking and getting information where I needed it, and I said, well, what do you do? And I was telling her of all the things I was experiencing and the challenges I was having, and she said she started declaring to her body, listen, I command the cessation of my menstrual cycle. I was like, oh my gosh, I believe in faith and I believe in speaking things by faith. And it was just such a shot in the arm to realize that's right, I have control and I have where my words are powerful. And so that's one thing I began to do was declare over my cycle that it would stop. I didn't need it anymore. I had had all the babies I was going to have out of this body of mine. And but that's what menopause is the cessation and the ending of our reproductive years. It typically will occur from ages 45 to 55, although that timing of course varies from woman to woman. There's so many different parts of us, and there's all of us have and experience things in whole new ways and different ways. But there are some women who have said that they have experienced menopausal symptoms as early as 35. Oh my gosh, right? So, continuing with what is menopause. Menopause is very natural. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, woe is me. Who am I? I'm alone. Listen, every woman has to go through this course. Not this course, but we have to chart this course and be on this journey through menopause. Now, some women have no symptoms at all, and then some women do have, all the way to the where they're really, really bad. And my symptoms were really bad as well. But I'm not sure where you are in that on that line, but every woman has to go through this process. So it's where our ovaries cease to produce eggs and the hormone levels, particularly estrogen and progesterone, will decline. So I'm interested to know your story. So please respond to the email that you received this, or social media, just letting me know what your story is. I'm always so intrigued to see all the different ways that we are all affected by this time in life and different ways that we might have. There's some things that you might be able to share with me or with others, that you were able to get through. Maybe those little nuggets are like gold, golden nuggets, I call them. So I'd love to hear your story and to hear, as challenging as it might be or as easy as it might be. I'd love to know. Okay. So make sure that you send me a quick little note. So let's talk about some of the symptoms that women experience during menopause. So, of course, some of these might be familiar to you. Again, just letting you know you're not alone. And then some of them might be new to you. So there's hot flashes, and that is something I have been, really, really just dealing with. It's been a big challenge here lately, especially when I'm talking to a client, and my glasses just completely cover with mist, and it's the craziest thing when my body just starts emanating this heat. But you feel hot out of nowhere. Of course, there's night sweats. Let me get going. And then there's, of course, the night sweats are like sweating while you're sleeping. And then there's vaginal dryness. Some women experience where intercourse is challenging, and so they are having vaginal dryness. And there's mood swings, and and then that can turn into depression and anxiety if it's not really, really headed off and stopped when you start feeling those symptoms. Many times it just takes communication, letting someone know, hey, I'm over here and I'm drowning, I'm having a situation. But we'll talk more about that as well. There's insomnia, where you have breaks in your sleep. There's fatigue. There are changes in libido. And of course, failing relationships. When we are going through things and we are going through these challenges, sometimes it's hard for us to communicate that to our loved ones. And that can cause all kinds of issues. I see a lot of women in this time, after many years of marriage, are now facing divorce because they weren't able to really communicate, or their loved one or their spouse is not able to say, hey, let me help you through this process. So I love to help women through that because it was a learning experience for me. And I just feel like, the more you know, the more you can help and the more you can do. So I'd love to help you through that as well. We'll talk more about ways that I might be able to assist. But I'd love to know what your symptoms are. Like I said, are they physical discomfort? Are they emotional changes that you're experiencing? What about the sleep? Are you having trouble in your sleep? Do you have any challenges in your sexual function? And what about bone issues? I tell you, every woman is different, but oh my gosh, my shoulders. And when I'm walking or get out from a seat, it is like the 4th of July from all the cracking sometimes. Not as much now that I know better what to put in my body and to fuel my body, because our bodies really are healing mechanisms. And so when we fuel them correctly, our bodies can do amazing things. So now I don't have those symptoms as much anymore, which I'm so grateful for. Um, but let's talk about some of the solutions. So, to hot flashes, let's talk about that for a moment. So, one of the things I had started, I love coffee, but I like to say that coffee doesn't necessarily love me. So coffee can be really, it can feed hot flashes for some reason. It seems like if I do choose to have a cup of coffee, not a few hours later, my body responds negatively to coffee. And so does many other women, as I've heard. So, spicy foods, alcohol, if you are able to lose weight, it is a blessing. Now, I know the challenges that come during this time in life, especially around the midsection and all over our bodies with just a little few extra pounds here and there. And so, I know that's not easy, but those things are what kind of make hot flashes more frequent and more challenging. So, one thing that I've done is carry a little fan with me, a little personal fan. And when things get too hot, I'll just set that fan up, and it's helpful. There's also, of course, supplements that can help, and we will talk about that as we go. With anxiety, exercise helps so much, and it doesn't have to be some amazing, super exercise. But walking outside for me and for others that I've heard has been such a blessing. It's something about the nature and being able to being out that helps. It helps you to relax, and it's a stress reliever. You can walk, you can run, and when you have your music in and you are just going about your thing, it's a beautiful time. Failing relationships. What I like to tell women is, and what has helped me is to be able to say, listen to my loved ones and communicate when I'm having like a really challenging day or a half of a day or a week. And I'll say, hey, I'm not necessarily myself right now. So if I come off as a little abrasive, know that it's not you. I'm just going through this thing. And hopefully we can teach and to train our loved ones how to help us through this process and say, I need this right now. Please. I need this. And that's our part, to be vocal and to let it be known what we're going through. So tell them how they can help us. Yes, so that's what, those are some of the solutions. Of course, we'll discuss more natural things in a moment. So, one of the very important things to do is to build your faith. Listen, we have to be able to tell our bodies and our minds who's boss. Because as we navigate the challenges and the changes that come with menopause, it is essential to recognize the importance of staying rooted in faith and maintaining a strong relationship with our Heavenly Father. Listen, God wants to help us through this process. So many times we go through this, and I like to say that it's like suffering in silence. I did that for so long. But I want to encourage you to seek God. Ask him for help. He's right there, and he really wants to give us the wisdom, not only to the wisdom to go through this, but to comfort us and let us know that we're not alone through this process. And that is so important. So I encourage us to first and foremost build our faith and strengthen our relationship with God and ask him for assistance during this time. So I wanted to make sure that that was included. And I also know that we have to trust his plan. God has a plan for our lives. And too many times we get to this time in life and really wonder, why are we here? And if we can even make it, and why am I on the earth? But I just want to encourage us that God has a plan. He has a plan for our lives. And there's a scripture that I love so, so much. Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, thoughts of peace, and to give," and that should have said to, but to give you an expected end. God has a plan. He had a plan before you were even born. He said, before I knew you in the belly, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you." And he knows us. So I want to encourage you to go back to that first love, the place where you came from, which is God. And I believe that he has a plan to help you through this transition. As a matter of fact, I know it, but I want you to know it. And I want you to have confidence that he will hear and he will help. Amen. That's good. The other thing I want to encourage us to do is to pray. Pray. So actually sit down, whether it's with our Bible or we are driving. Sometimes I take a moment when I'm driving my car and I'm like, Lord, I need you. Especially if I've ever felt anxiety, then I ask God, I said, Lord, please help me through this. This is becoming too much for me. And it's something about the peace of God that passes all understanding. When we put our mind on him, the Bible says that he will keep us in perfect peace. So when feeling overwhelmed by these physical symptoms and emotional struggles, prayer becomes a powerful source of strength and solace. And my sister, I want to help you with that. If I don't leave you with anything else, this moment I want you to know that your prayers can be answered by God if we speak them to him. He knows our thoughts and our concerns, but it's something about talking to our Father that really changes things in our lives. So let's get into some of the physical things and the natural things that are needed. Diet and nutrition. You knew it was coming. It is important. It is important to fuel our bodies with healthy foods. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have a cheat meal here or there, but during this time, if we want to have our bodies operate at full performance and at the best, live our best lives, then we're going to have to feed our bodies whole foods, natural foods, and fruits and vegetables. Of course, there's books out like Eat Right for Your Hormone Type or things like that that you can take as resources. But I want to encourage you, that voice in the back of your head saying, don't eat that donut or, shave back, the time frame that you're eating. One thing that has helped a lot of women during this time and when they're dealing with these symptoms is intermittent fasting. So, of course, you'd have to talk to your doctor about that. But if you can and you are able, if you can shorten that window when you eat, that has been one of the most monumental, I believe, one of the most, besides prayer and I would say that is one of, maybe second to that, is one of the most monumental changes that I made is to shorten my window of when I eat. And it was hard at first, but really, as you do that, it becomes easier and easier. So I encourage you to, if possible, shorten your window. And when you do eat healthier foods. I found the best. I think it's Longhorn that has a really, really good butter sauce that they put on their broccoli. So that, along with some salmon and some type of fish or sweet potato. Oh my gosh, so good. So just pick foods that are really better for you. And then really quickly, I would say to meal prep. If you have the food already ready, that is the best chance that you're giving yourself of making a good choice. Because usually it's when we're hungry that we make the bad choices. So if you have a good some a way a day where you can spend meal prepping Saturday or Sunday, I usually say for the week, it makes your life easier, and it's such a huge boost in confidence because you feel so good about what you just accomplished as well. Now, there's some supplements that I have been taking that really helped me turn the corner. So, I had such pain in my legs, my shoulders, my arms, my fingers, and all of that. And these supplements helped me. So, calcium, vitamin C, D3, and magnesium. So, but calcium and vitamin C are not the same, by the way. Just so you know, you probably already know that, but make sure that you get those two different things in, and it will really change the game for you. Now, what I wanted to mention and put it in its own line even is fish oil. Fish oil has been I'm telling you, it has been a game changer. It is so good. It's like when I take fish oil, my body really needed that, and most women that I know really need fish oil. It is important to our bodies and important for this transition and for the function of our health. Okay, so those are just some things that you might want to take into account. Let's get into exercise and self care. So this is so important, and it's one of those things we love to hate because once you get going, I don't know if you're like most of us, where if you go to the gym, you didn't want to go to the gym. You wish somebody would have rescued you from having to go before you go. But then once you get over with it, I'm telling you, that's another boosting confidence and sense of just really feeling so much better, and the endorphins are going. But regular aerobic exercise 3 to 5 days a week, it's almost a no-brainer. And like, you must schedule it in, and don't let anybody change that. So you can do walking outside, you can work out at home. There's a myriad of exercises. Of course, you have everything that you need on there. um, to be able to put in just 15, 20, 30 minutes, and if you're really eager, you can do more than that. But getting in that exercise every week, at least 3 to 5 days, is going to help you so much. Then strength training. I found out that we in this time as well benefit so much from heavier weights. So when we build that muscle, it helps to support our bones as we are aging beautifully and positively. If we help to build those muscles around our bones, it is such a help for us as well. And then stretch as much as possible. Getting in those stretches first thing in the morning is really great, but at any time of the day, just making sure you stretch is such a good thing for our bodies, the tendons. If things get tight, many times it's stressful, and the anxiety that we discussed. Sometimes a good stretch can help that as well. So, practicing stress management techniques like self care and quiet time, massages, going to get a massage, schedule in you. Bet on you for a change. I know for me, I took care of everybody. I nursed all five of my babies, and sometimes I feel like husbands too, you right? But I nursed them, and I gave to them, and I give to them so much. And I'm just now, except for my 11-year-old, about to be empty nesting, and being able to enjoy my life. And I make sure I schedule in my time, because if I don't, it won't happen. And I'll be months down the line, and I had told myself that I was going to do this thing, or that I love to do. I picked up skating again. I love roller skating. And so the first time I went, I was like, oh my gosh, a little concerned. Am I going to know how to do this? Man, I jumped on those skates and I was out of here. And I just loved it. So I encourage you to pick up some things. That's self care that you used to love to do, whether it's knitting, or maybe it's tennis, or maybe it is golf, or anything, whatever, swimming. It could be anything that you used to love to do. Schedule it, start, and then I'm telling you, it'll change your life, right? And then prioritizing sleep. Some of the things that you can do for a solution for prioritizing sleep is keeping the room dark, Like, I don't even want a pin of a light. Sometimes that helps, right? For me and for most. A cool room, it has to be really cold so that when you, if you do have a hot flash or sweating while you're asleep, you can open the covers and it's cooler in the room. Keeping water by the bed and being able to hydrate, that also helps. And supplements and counting. A doctor told me one time that if I would count to 100, and I was like, okay, this sounds like Mary Had a Little Lamb type stuff. But it wasn't. It was actually very helpful. You know, being able to count from 1 to 100, and you just count slowly: one, two, 3, 4. And I'm telling you, at first I was like, oh, one, two, and I know I never get to 100, but that has been helpful. So that might be a tool to help. And if you do wake up after that, then do it again and try not to stimulate yourself after while you're counting or during that count. So that should be helpful. One thing I wanted to mention is to practice gratitude. As bad as we think it is, and as worse off as we think that we are, we many times will compare ourselves to others, which that's like a thief of joy. We know that comparison is not our friend, right? But if we will practice gratitude, take a moment each and every day to count our blessings. That's why it's important. Grab my journal, and it has 40 prompts in there, by the way. And that's a great way for you to go in there and say, you know what? What is God saying? Let me, sometimes a prompt is helpful because it'll say, write this, think about this thing, and then write about it. So practicing gratitude, practice gratitude about the things that you do have. Yes, we all would want more, but it's something about being grateful for where we are right now. Whether it's jotting down gratitude in your journal, sharing them with your loved ones, telling someone, sometimes you can call someone. If you can't call anyone, just sometimes writing it down. If you don't have anyone that you feel confident with sharing, but writing that down is a world of difference. It makes life easier for us, right? So, in conclusion, I told you it was not going to take very long. Those are things that, maybe we do know about, but we may not be taking advantage of. So, here's your little reminder to say, hey, bet on you. Put you first for a change. Because truthfully, if you are not at full capacity, how are you supposed to show up for your loved ones and for those who are around you, right? So I want you to get excited. I want you to celebrate your small wins. If you meal prep or you go to the store and you grab some things and you turn around where you know you're tired and you didn't want to go and stop by the store, you go to the store and you get those groceries, celebrate it. You did it, sis. I celebrate you. And I want you to give yourself a break. We're so hard on ourselves, aren't we? Sometimes we look in the mirror and we can't even tell ourselves we're beautiful because we are looking immediately at the negative things. But what about the beautiful things? I know I used to get teased so much about my freckles and my light skin. And I was like, oh my gosh, people will say, you're white. I'm like, what? No. I'm a black woman, and this is how God made me. And white, black, Hispanic, every color is beautiful. But this is how God made me. So I had to come to grips with my freckles are beautiful. My lips are the way that they are because God made them that way. I used to get teased about my nose. I used to get teased about my height. I'm very short. I'm like 5'1" or something, 5. But, my weight, whatever state I'm in, I have to give myself a break and say, girl, you made it to this point and you're doing better than most. Because really, it could be so much worse, right? It could be worse. What you're dealing with right now, it could be worse. There's someone worse off than you. So give yourself a break, bet on you, and be patient. You did not get here overnight. And this is not going to be like a quick switch and you are somewhere where you want to be. So I encourage you in that way. Please, sis, just know that I'm sending love your way. I'm sending faith your way and blessings your way. I'm expecting for God to do great, great things in your life as you make these small little changes. I think that the best of your life is still to come. Your best is yet to come. It is right there in front of you. I can see it. I can see it for you. Sometimes someone has to see it for you before you can see it for yourself. Well, I see it for you. I know what it's like to be in the situation that you're in. And I know that it can get better. I know that you might be watching this in tears. I mean, I cried everywhere I went when I was just going through and struggling with this. I feel like I was suffering in silence and no one knew how to help me. I went to doctor's visits and they weren't doing anything to help. It's like I would leave there and they would just say everything's normal. And I'd say, well, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And they had nothing to say. Like one doctor put me on 4 different medications. And I asked him, I said, are any of these going to be bad for me? And he said, yeah, your kidneys aren't going to like it, but you got to start. So let's just try it for 3 months and see what happens. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you're another one that did that. And I would go to every health food store. When I saw a health food store, I would stop in there and somebody would come up and say, can I help you? And I would just start crying because I didn't know what to do. And they didn't know what to do because they're not necessarily prepared to help me through this process either. It was only when I started researching and asking for help and getting the answers that I knew were out there and asking God, like, I am at my wits' end here. I am going to have an answer to this because I can't live like that, right? So just know I'm here with you. I know what it feels like, and many other women know what it feels like. You are not alone. The symptoms that you're having and the challenges that you're experiencing are not just you. So know that, right? Know that I love you because I feel you, right? So I do have some freebies. If you have not gotten those, here are 2 of them that have gotten really, really great response from the ladies who have read them. Little nuggets again that I thought that were great. I believe that we frame our world with our words. So whatever you say is what you're probably seeing. So I have some marriage confessions. I have that in audio, and I have it also um, in a PDF. So I'd love to send that to you, which is a great little thing to guide to go through as the confessions are going as well. So let me know if you want that. If you haven't gotten it yet, I would love to send that to you as well as my guide, my Thriving Through Menopause guide. And all you have to do is DM me on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, wherever you saw me and we connected, the words freebie from the course, and I will send you a copy. Also, if you, I think we may have contacted each other through email as well. So look forward to some more things coming down the line. And again, I want to remind you, go to the one stop shop. Now, there's not as much on there as I want, but I'm putting things on there every single week. More things that will help you to give you confidence, whether it be something to wear, something to drink out of, or like I said, a journal or some type of, all of these products are for you during this time. So make sure you go and grab you one and get that so that you can make the rest of your life, the best of your life. Okay. Well, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more life hacks for midlife coming your way. And I just want you to remember that you are not alone. Well, this is your sister from another mister, Treesa Lee, and I love you and I'm praying for you that the rest of your life will be the best of your life. Ta ta for now.